Hey, welcome to TitanUp 2day. It's your boy CD back again for round 3. On today's episode, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest personnel moves and take a deep dive into the Tennessee Titans Week 6 opponent, the Denver Broncos. But no need to delay, let's get right to it. All right, so let's take care of these transactions. David Quisenberry, offensive tackle we just waived yesterday, has now officially cleared waivers and remains unsigned as a free agent. Haranis Grazu, hopefully I'm saying his name right, center, we just cut him off of our squad outright. We did pick up 3 guys, one off of our practice squad. That is Dalen Dawkins, running back. I would say preseason. He had a great preseason. We're finally bringing him up on a 53-man roster. We signed Rod Smith off of free agency, and we also signed Cody Parkey last night off of free agency to take the latest and greatest, Cairo Santos, 0 for 4 by the way, his place to move forward. So let's go ahead and dive in and get down to this Denver Broncos Week 6 matchup. We're now done with 5. We said that last time. We're done with 5, on to 6. Let's get down to it. All right, so we'll start off with our O-line, Tennessee O-line. As hyped up as I sound, I'm not hyped up at all. Digging into the statistics, it looks bad. Man, it looks so dang bad. All right, so last week was the first week that we had that starting 5 together. We added Taylor Lewan coming back off of suspension, and then Nate Davis got his very first start. He did not too well. But nonetheless, the offensive line did pretty trash, just to say the least, especially Roger Saffold, who gave up another 2 sacks. Numbers-wise, rushing the ball, we're rushing about 4.2 yards per carry, which is 16th in the league, but we're 30th in negative runs, meaning it's a bad number. Right now, we have 17 negative runs on the year, 17, which is 3rd from the bottom. Pretty bad. So, passing the ball, though, we'll flip on the other side. Definitely not any better. If anything, I would say worse. We're giving up, from an O-line perspective, passing the ball, let's be specific. We're giving up 22 sacks this year, which is 31st. There's 32 teams in the league. We're 30th in the quarterback being hit. He's been hit 38 times this season, and that's not any better. So the offensive line play obviously looks pretty bad, and we need to work on that. And specifically for this game, need to tighten it up and be ready to go. All right, so looking at the Denver's front 7, because they're going to be the ones that will be attacking that offensive line, that very mush offensive line at this point in time. The Denver's front 7, I would call them average. I mean, their rushing defense, they're giving up about 126.4 yards per game, which is 11th in the league. And their average rush is 4.7, which is actually 20th in the league. I think the rushing game for us will have to step up. I think there's an opportunity for us to do that with that kind of soft rushing game so far. Their passing defense at front 7, surprising. The Denver Broncos, I'm a fantasy football guy. I love it. They've always been a really good defense, especially fantasy defense. But in reality, with Chubb and the man over there, I can't even think of his name right now, 58, Von Miller. With Von Miller over there, that's sack city. They're getting sacks all the time. Right now, they're dead last in sacks with only 5. That being said, it took them 3 weeks, or on the 4th week is when they got their first sack. So over the last 2 weeks, 2 games, they've had 5 sacks, which is, I would say, average over the league. So not too much, but our offensive line doesn't really help that situation. And maybe they'll help them out, but we'll see. Hopefully we tighten it up. I'm being a little bit facetious right now. Now, the Tennessee Titan passing game, I could have cried. Man, I could have cried. It's so bad. Right now, we're 27th in the league in passing completion at 61.7%. You want to hover near, like on the high end of 60s, almost flirting with 70% would be amazing. We're not even close to that. Not even close to that. 27th in yardage. Don't even have 1,000 yards yet on the season after 5 games. Don't even have 1,000 yards passing. The positive is we have 0 interceptions, which helps out our quarterback rating, which is 103, and it's, I believe it's top 6. It's 6 in the league right now. That's pretty good. The Denver secondary, on the other hand, they're pretty good as well. So whenever we have these little numbers, they're probably set up to stomp us in the pass game. But outside of not being able to rush the quarterback, if we do get rid of the ball, we'll see how this works out. Right now, they're at 6.4 yards per completion, which is 7th in the league. 4th in passing touchdowns allowed. They've only given up 4 passing touchdowns all season. We've played 5 games. That's less than a touchdown a game. Gonna be fun. 8th in quarterback rating, as their quarterbacks that they're facing are 85.9. I think that quarterback rating is a nice number, but again, as you see Mariota at 103, it seems like it's really fluffed up. But 85.9 is anything less than 100 really is a decent quarterback rating for a defense. Nonetheless, the defensive secondary of the Broncos is pretty dang good. All right, so let's look at Denver's O-line from a rushing standpoint. It's kind of hard to judge them, don't get me wrong, because they have the fewest rushing attempts in the league right now, but have a very healthy 4.5 yards per carry, which is, I would say, pretty scary, because if they actually did run the ball, they can probably do better, and that 1-4 record that they have doesn't look as such. So they have Joe Flacco throwing the ball a little bit more than what I would suggest, but I'm not on the Denver Broncos coaching staff, so I guess I have no say. Nonetheless, going to the passing side, the O-line is average, I would say, right down the middle. They're 13th in sacks allowed. They've only given up 14 all year. And their quarterback's only been hit a total of 27 times this year, which is right down the middle of the road at 14th. So, I don't know. Titans front 7 will be the ones attacking that. That Titans front 7, again, the defense we can hang our hat on that. The front 7 is where it begins, and the secondary is where it ends. All balls go to die. But from a rushing standpoint, our front 7 is giving up 104.8 yards per game, which is 14th in the league, right down the middle, basically. And that's at 4.4 yards per carry. Again, the Broncos are 4.5 yards per carry, so it's right about the same. That could be kind of scary, so we need to make sure that we tighten up that run defense. I will say, as much as I love percentages and that yards per carry statistic, whenever you give up a 50-yarder or a 70-yarder or another 50-yarder, whatever, over games, that average that we now see at 4.4 yards per carry might have actually been 3.9 yards per carry if those numbers wouldn't have been, those long runs wouldn't have been thrown into the statistics. Nonetheless, on the passing side, the Titans are 4th in sacks. 4th in sacks with 17. We're doing all right from that standpoint. So I think we put a lot of pressure on Flacco and see how he does. All right, Denver passing game, they get to throw the ball. They're 11th in completion percentage, which is solid. They're not really throwing the ball deep, but they're efficient. And they're 11th in completion percentage at 66.7% completion. The 21st in touchdowns with 6 passing touchdowns. That's it. That's more than us, but it is what it is. For them, they also have 4 interceptions thrown, which puts them at 15th, right down the pipe again. Quarterback rating is 90.8, which is towards the bottom of the tiers at 20th. All right, Tennessee secondary gets to stop that pass. How are we going to do it? Kevin Byard, that's what I would say. I did call that pick, by the way. Don't forget that. So nonetheless, 6.9 yards per completion is what we're giving up on the back end, which is top 10, actually 9th in the league. And 6th in interceptions with 5. And out of those 5, Kevin Byard has 2. So it's time to step up and get a couple more on the corners on the outside. I'd like to see Adoree do something. It seems like he's kind of fell off. Kind of scary. But nonetheless, we're 2nd in passes over 40 yards. So, is that a big deal? Yes. Those are the big plays that we were talking about last episode and beyond, about how in the past last year we give up those crazy big long pass plays. We're not giving them up anymore. We've only given up 2, which puts us at 2nd in the league. All right, so special teams will be the next angle, because you got offense, you got defense, special teams, 3rd side of the ball, if you will. All right, our special teams, we're 31st in field goal percentage. That being said, we're shooting at 44%. Not that great. I think it's kind of, the numbers are a little bit skewed. Carlos Santos, before last game, was 4 for 5 going into the game. 80%, not too bad. When he left that game, he was not 4 for a 5 anymore. So we'll leave it at that. But we did sign Cody Parkey. He has a little reputation as well. I would hope that he comes in and just handles business. We just need a couple more weeks. That's it. Then we get Ryan Suckup back, and everything will be back to how it's supposed to be with accurate, efficient field goals. And those 4 field goal attempts last week turned into 12 points, which turned into a victory. Anyways, moving along, 21st in yards per return on kickoff returns, which I don't think is that great. The number is 20.2 yards per return. If we return the ball, if we catch the ball in the end zone and do not return the ball, we get it at the 25-yard line. The fact that our return is 20.2 suggests that something ain't right. We'll just leave it there. Now, I know I blasted Brett Kern. Last one on the recap, I blasted him. I apologize, Brett. I still think you're the best in the game, and I'll prove it. Right now, you're first in kicks inside the, punts inside the 20 with 15, and you're killing it. Forgive me. Now, on the other side, Denver special teams, they're averaging 32.3 yards per kick return. Again, 32.3. So, I love those averages. I love those yards per carry or yards per return in this case. 32.3 is huge. So they must have scored a touchdown. No. And their longest return is not even 40 yards. Talking about scary, just playing the numbers game, that tells me that they are literally running for 30 yards every return. And they're that close away from breaking one loose and going to the house. So we need to tighten up and make sure that the special teams is on point, especially on kickoff coverage. On the punting game, they do not have Brett Kern on their team. They're 29th in net punt average with only 38 yards on their average net punt average. I think field position will reign supreme in this game. I kind of see another Bills game, low-key, coming up again, which is kind of scary. We just need to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we'll be all right. In summary, to kind of wrap up this preview, looking at the Broncos offense, their rushing game is average, their passing game is average, but I do think that they're going to run the ball a little bit more, or at least try to run the ball a little bit more to get those rushing attempt numbers up and see if that 4.5 yards per carry is real. That being said, I trust our Titans defense to hold that down for the first 3 quarters and about 4 drives. I can't tell you what's going to happen at the end. Hopefully Phillip Lindsay doesn't break one off for like 80 yards, whatever, to murder us. But we'll go ahead and keep it keel and say that we'll be tight and everything will be good for that entire time, the entire game, 60 minutes when they're running the ball. That being said, Broncos defense, average against the run, average against the pass. They got a very average team, borderlining on mediocre, to be honest with you. That 1-4 record, I thought it was a little bit underrated, but the more I dug into the statistics, it seems about fit. Are they a 2-4 team or are they a 1-5 team? Only time will tell. In about 4 more days or so, we'll know specifically. But the Titans defense, we're 4th in third down percentage, which is great. We're only giving up 31% or allowing 31% of conversions on third down. That's stellar, to be honest with you. And speaking of stellar, that secondary that we have is top notch. You just think about it as it lined up. Kevin Byard, Kenny Vaccaro, Logan Ryan, Malcolm Butler, Adoree Jackson, those guys back there, as long as the front 7 do their job, we got nothing to worry about. Nothing in the air is going to go down. That 66% completion rate that Flacco has, I think is going to be demolished. I don't. If he throws for more than 50%, I'll be shocked. And that's not my bold prediction. Not throwing that out there yet. Just keep that in mind. I'm just saying. All right, so our offense on the other side, to summarize, hasn't been consistent. We know that. O-line play has been trash. Ferocious, like just horrible O-line play. But if there is a silver lining or an excuse, I don't know what you want to call it, I would say that the first day of the first game that we had one starting lineup. The second, we had a different starting lineup. This will be the first week where we've had the same starters and we'll stay there the entire time. I say that loosely because Coach Mike Vrabel did say and make mention that Dennis Kelly might find his way into the rotation after a combination of Saffold acting up and our right tackle, Conklin. He's been off. I don't understand. He was an all-pro his rookie year. Anyways, we'll get off that. Well, all right. That concludes Week 6, Tennessee Titans versus Denver Broncos preview. If you like what you saw, loved it, or want a little bit more of it, click that like button, show your boy some love, subscribe, and maybe even hit that little bell in the bottom right-hand corner there. Get yourself some notifications for the next time I upload tomorrow. Speaking of, got a question for you. Why tighten up tomorrow whenever you can tighten up today?